A rather touching photograph. Mrs. Redfern's sketching supplies.
You were right, Monsieur Poirot, weren't you?
Madame?
You asked me to have patience, and now Alena has been removed from the picture.
Perhaps. But the manner of her removal is not something to celebrate, I think.
Oh, I'm not celebrating, I'm not that callous. But I do know that eventually that door will open, and it will be my husband standing there.
If you could give me an account of your movements this morning?
Of course. Let me see. On my way down to breakfast, I stopped in to see Linda Marshall and fixed up with her to go to Sanctuary Cove. That was about 9:40. After breakfast, I saw you in the lobby. I sketched that man for you at about 10:20.
Again? My thanks.
Then Linda and I set out for Sanctuary Cove.
What time was that?
I think it was just on 10:30.
What did you do at Sanctuary Cove?
I made some sketches of the birds, while Linda swam and sunbathed. Have you seen them walk, Monsieur Poirot? It quite reminded me.
Ha! We will not dwell upon the birds, madame, if you don't mind.
As you wish.
What time did you leave?
At 11:45. I was playing tennis at 12 with Miss Darnley, Mr. Marshall and Mr. Gardner.
How did you know the time?
Linda had a watch. I asked her.
I see. And then?
I packed up my sketching things and went back to the hotel.
What was Mademoiselle Linda doing when you left the beach?
Oh, Linda went into the sea again.
Did Linda Marshall actually enter the sea before you left the beach?
Yes. Oh, yes, she ran down the beach. I heard her splashing in the waves as I climbed the path.
What happened after you went back to the hotel?
I changed into my tennis things and went to the tennis court where I met the others. We played 2 sets and were just going in when the news came about Mrs. Marshall.
How did you feel when you learned of Madame Marshall?
It was a horrible thing to happen.
Yes, but you were so very surprised?
I think I see what you mean. No, I was not perhaps surprised. Shocked, yes, but she was the kind of woman.
She was the kind of woman to whom such a thing might happen. Yes, madame, that is the truest and most significant thing that has been said to Poirot today.
latched tight on the inside. This may be important. I'll keep it in my notebook. This document bears further study. I will keep it in my notebook.
Believe me when I tell you, Hastings, there was nothing of interest in those drawers.
Interesting. I'll put it in my notebook. This room belongs to Mr. Blatt.
Fascinating.
I say, what caused that oily spot?
My nose tells me it is some kind of oil. A test would determine it more precisely. That will do quite well. They are blackout curtains, although at the moment they are not drawn. Mademoiselle?
Mr. Poirot, you gave me such a start. I'm all nerves.
Is all well, mademoiselle?
What were you doing in your bath yesterday? It was such a mess. It took forever to clean it up.
It is a little hard to explain that...
Well, never you mind. I took care of it. It's my job.
How are things between you and Monsieur Will Jenks?
Mr. Poirot, the Marshall girl told me that there is nothing between her and my will. Everything's patched up.
I am so glad.
She also told me that you had a hand in clearing up that mystery. If you need a helping hand in this horrible murder case, you just let me know.
Do not disturb him, Hastings. We may be able to take advantage of his absence from the beach.
Hello, Monsieur Poirot. I'm sorry. I know I should have stayed at the hotel, but I had to get away.
It is of no matter, mademoiselle. I knew I should find you here. May I ask the questions?
Yes.
Can you tell me how you spent the morning?
After breakfast, I came here to Sanctuary Cove with Christine, Mrs. Redfern.
When was that?
We started off from my room just before the half hour, 10:25.
What did you do when you got here?
I swam, then sunbathed, while Christine sketched the gully moors. Then later I went back in for a bathe, and Christine went back to the hotel to get changed for tennis.
Did you like your stepmother, mademoiselle?
Oh yes, Alena was kind to me.
Did your father and your stepmother ever quarrel?
Oh no, Father doesn't quarrel with people. He's not like that at all.
Have you any idea who might have wanted to kill your stepmother?
Well, I hate to say it, but Mrs. Redfern might want to. Her husband was in love with Alena after all. Not that I think she would really want to kill her. I mean, she'd just feel that she wished she was dead. Monsieur Poirot, that isn't the same thing at all, is it?
No, it is not at all the same. What time was it that Mrs. Redfern left you?
11:45.
Are you sure of that time?
Oh, yes. She asked me. She didn't want to miss her tennis game. I looked at my watch. It was 11:45. It keeps very good time. I know I can't show you now. I left it in my room when I changed after bathing.
When did you return to the hotel?
Just about 1 o'clock. And then I heard about Alena.
You filled a prescription for your stepmother today?
What? Oh, yes. Yes, I did. Just a while ago. Trinol.
And where is the Trinol now?
I put it in her room. There are evil people in the world. They need to be punished. But Mrs. Redfern isn't evil. I don't want her to get into trouble. She loves her husband, that's all. Don't you think?
I think she loves him very much. Oui, mademoiselle.
Look here, Poirot. There are quite a few more things we should be asking her. She clearly wasn't telling the truth about her feelings for Alena, or about her father and Alena never fighting.
Hastings, that is a very troubled child. I think it would be very unwise to press her. Besides, there is still more we need to discover about the events at Miss Potter's school for the young ladies. What are you thinking, Hastings? Poirot, he does not climb up and down the ladders? I must speak with you.
Sir, Colonel Weston says I should answer any questions you might have. Murder. Isn't it horrible?
It is indeed. What can you tell me about the murder?
Nothing. Nothing at all. I had to go rake that tennis court again this morning. I was there from 10:30 until several of the guests turned up to play around 12. Can you believe somebody had been digging it up?
Oh, that is terrible. I am sorry you were put to so much trouble.
Oh, that's all right. It's not as if you did it.
This is a washout. He knows nothing.
He can still be useful, Hastings. See if you can find out how. Do you know anything of fifth columnists operating along this coast?
Fifth columnists? You mean spies? Traitors? No.
No? But then he would not be likely to. Try again, Hastings. You told me you will be the Navy frogman soon.
Yes, sir. I hope this murder doesn't hold things up.
You can swim deep as well as fast?
I should hope so.
Mademoiselle Brewster tells me something was thrown into the rocky bath. Do you think you could swim down and find it?
I suppose I could under ordinary circumstances, but this murder has right unmanned me. If I had something that would brace me up, that might do it. Liquid courage, if you catch my meaning.
Pas mal, Hastings. You at least seem to be following my story. We now know the service George can perform for us. We lack only the means to enlist his aid. Oh, merci, Monsieur George. I will speak with you again.
You know where to find me, sir.
Afternoon, Mr. Poirot. Terrible thing, this murder. I hope you get to the bottom of it. Need a little stimulation to help you think? Choose from the menu if you like.
I say, some tasty concoctions here, Poirot.
Afternoon, Mr. Poirot. Terrible thing, this murder. I hope you get to the bottom of it. Need a little stimulation to help you think? Choose from the menu if you like.
I say, some tasty concoctions here, Poirot.
Sorry, sir. All out of dark rum and grenadine, I'm afraid. Blame George. It's his favourite drink.
Allow me the contribution.
Cough syrup? I can't serve cough syrup to my customers.
I say, some tasty concoctions here, Poirot.
You presume that this would be the choice of Poirot? I think not. Does nothing strike you as odd about what you're doing?
Afternoon, Mr. Poirot. Terrible thing, this murder. I hope you get to the bottom of it. Need a little stimulation to help you think? Choose from the menu if you like.
I say, some tasty concoctions here, Poirot.
Sorry, sir. All out of dark rum and grenadine, I'm afraid. Blame George. It's his favourite drink.
Allow me the contribution.
These will do nicely, sir. I can make several planter's punches with these. Thank you. There you go.
Merci. Hastings, those are expensive. Talk to George first before giving him the drink.
A planter's punch. This will do nicely. Thank you, sir. That certainly restored my nerves wonderfully. Now then, you had a bit of diving you wanted me to do. No luck yet, sir, but I'll have another go. This it, sir. Just a small glass bottle.
Need the sea tractor, do you?
Yes, please?
On me way. I run errands for the hotel guests when I can. I'll fetch things from Kingsbridge that they can't find at the chemists here in Leathercombe Bay. I've got my own motorboat and can take guests fishing too. Though with U-boats around these days, nobody wants to do much fishing.
The bottle thrown from the balcony, it contained artificial suntan. The substance in Alena's coffee? It is trianol, a powerful sedative. The substance in Monsieur Black's suitcase is the oil for the protecting of a gun from rust, Hastings. The substance contained in the smashed bottle found in Cutter's Cove, it is perfume. I am sorry, mon ami, but I do not think we will find the information we seek in that chapter. I am sorry, mon ami, but I do not think we will find the information we seek in that chapter. The blood found at the monastery ruins, it is from the chicken. The substance on the stick pin, it is candle wax. am sorry, mon ami, but I do not think we will find the information we seek in that chapter. The liquid in the unmarked bottle from Madame Marshall's bath is the color that made her hair such a striking shade. Ah, almost there. Hastings, this is important. Would you not agree?
Thank you, sir. I'll send it off at once. Thank you, sir. I'll send it off directly.
Hello, Poirot. Seems like the old place isn't so dull anymore.
No, it is not. Proceed with care, Hastings. We have need of Monsieur Blatt's assistance.
Righto.
Where were you from 11:15 and 20 of 12 this morning?
Easy. I put out in my yawl about 9, then spent the morning zipping up and down the bay. Just got back a few minutes after 1 and heard the news about the murder. Ghastly business.
Could you see Cutter's Cove from your boat?
Well, yes. I suppose I could have, but I wasn't looking, I'm afraid.
Can you shed any light on the murder?
If I was looking for a suspect, I couldn't rule out that Mrs. Redfern. Jealousy, you know, led to trouble before this.
Yes, unfortunately, Madame Marshall was strangled by someone with powerful hands. That does not suggest Madame Redfern. Hastings, do you therefore rule out all women as suspects?
Of course. No woman would have the strength.
We will speak more of this in a moment. I believe you have lost the life ring buoy from your sailboat?
How did you know that?
I have found it. Your boat is called the Parsimony, is it not?
Why, yes, she is. A little joke of my competitors in the business world.
Hardware, was it? Do not press him, Hastings.
That's right. Listen, that boy's no good to me anymore. It was damaged in a storm. I've been trying to find another without much success. I even tried to beat Bagby at darts for the boy and his war, but I couldn't do it.
Perhaps I will try a game of the darts.
Good luck. He's the best player I've ever seen.
Have you any dark rum?
Nary a drop, I'm afraid. With trade being as slow as it is, there's not much sense in restocking. Please, leave me alone for the moment.
A regulation dartboard.
Fancy a game, sir? Care to make a gentleman's wager?
I will play you for that life ring buoy on your wall.
Oh, very well. But it's worth 10 quid. Is it a bet?
£10 for a boy? That's highway robbery.
Only if he wins, Hastings.
10 quid against the boy. You throw first.
Splendid throw.
I have obtained the life ring buoy.
So that's mighty nice of you, Poirot. Anything I can do for you in return?
Do you have the compass I might borrow?
Well, I guess I could let you use my compass. Not much use for it sailing around Leathercombe Bay. Mind you, return it though.
Do you have the winch handle I might borrow?
Winch handle? From my sailboat? Not bloody likely. How would I haul my sails up and down? If you'll excuse me, Poirot, I have some business to attend to. Don't worry, I'll be around the hotel if you need me.
Poirot, do you think a woman could have strangled Alena?
In 1926 was the first woman to swim the English Channel. I believe she could strangle you with ease, especially if you asked such a nonsensical question.
Then we should put all the women on the island to the test. Somehow.
Very well.
Poirot, any indications yet on Alena Marshall's murder?
Indications, yes, but there is still work to be done, Colonel.
Of course. How can I help?
Has the body been moved from Cutter's Cove?
Yes. Dr. Neasden is performing the autopsy right now in Kingsbridge.
Did your men uncover anything new from the murder scene?
No, nothing, I'm afraid.
Have you an answer from Scotland Yard on the sketch?
Yes, goes by the name of John North. Here's the report.
I will copy the important points into my notebook.
Nasty bit of goods there. Hate to hear he's in my district.
Have you the report on the Alice Corrigan case?
Here you are. As I said, it wasn't my district. Chief Constable in charge did all he could. Eventually turned it over to Scotland Yard. They have a couple of men on it, I believe.
Merci beaucoup. I will make the notes of my own.
The husband's alibi looks unbreakable, and there are no other real suspects.
Do you have the background checks on the suspects?
Not yet, I'm afraid.
I have here the letter, written to Alena, signed only J.N. Do you think you could have Scotland Yard ask among her acquaintances in London if they can identify this man?
J.N.? It's not much to go on. Do you have anything else?
This photograph of the Redferns was taken by a Jimmy Nash, as you can see from the reverse side.
Yes.
I will ask Monsieur Redfern if he knows Monsieur Nash, but please send it along to Scotland Yard as well. It may help.
Of course.
Did Monsieur Blatt report to you that his boat had been fired upon?
I'll say not. When was this?
That I cannot tell you. He mentions an accident in the storm only.
What storm? We've had fair weather for weeks now.
Then why would he conceal such an attack?
I could bring him in for questioning.
Not just yet, please. Again, I would advise only to watch his movements should he leave Seadrift Island.
I'll inform my men.
Mrs. Castle is very nervous. She may attempt the escape.
We're ready to follow if she does.
Thank you, monsieur.
Hello again, Mr. Poirot. How can I help you?
I have a few matters to discuss only. What can you tell me of hotel guest movements this morning?
Well, let's see. Mr. Lane came across on the sea tractor fairly early this morning, about 8, I'd say, and set off on foot across the moor. He hasn't come back yet. Major Barry picked up his car, thanks again for repairing it, and drove off to Kingsbridge just before 10. Say, 10 minutes of... Major Black came in from sailing not too long ago and headed for the Monk's Head. I've seen no one else except the police and Dr. Neasden coming and going. Colonel Weston went back to the police station, I think.
Do you know Mr. North?
The day tripper gent with the binoculars?
That is he.
Haven't seen him today at all, but he has no trouble wading across the causeway on his own.
He has been visiting Seadrift Island often?
Every now and again over the past few months. Anything else I can help you with, Mr. Poirot? You did a bang-up job on that motor of Major Barry's.
Do you have the handle of the winch used for the raising and lowering of the sails?
No, but I can probably track one down for you. Come back later this afternoon. Like a ride to the island?
Yes, please.
Let's be off then. I have a theory about the murder. What if it wasn't murder? Suicide. I know what you're thinking. I know it's difficult to commit suicide by self-strangulation. But what if Miss Stuart was choking on something like a chunk of apple or something?
Mademoiselle, there is a favor you could do for Poirot. Would you be willing to help with an experiment?
What kind of experiment?
Or would you be so kind as to open the jar for me, please? Ah, I see you mean to prove your theory that no woman would have the strength to strangle Madame Marshall.
Can't do it, sir. It's on there ever so tight.
Would you mind asking one of the ladies at the hotel to open it?
Why a lady? Surely any of the sturdier gents could do it.
Well, Hastings, this is your plan. What do you say to that?
Tell her you have a phobia about other men opening jars for you.
What? Oh, that is absurd. She will think Poirot is a lunatic.
If you won't do it, I win my point. No woman could have throttled Alena Marshall.
Mademoiselle Gladys, that is to say, I have the tiniest of phobias about other men opening jars for me. As unbelievable as that sounds.
Oh, no, sir. I believe it. Coming from you, I'll give it a go.
Who shall I have try it? Mademoiselle Brewster. Any luck with the opening of the jar, mademoiselle?
Miss Brewster opened it right up. Gosh, she's strong.
Merci beaucoup, mademoiselle. You have done an excellent job.
What should I do with the jar?
It is yours. Take it as well with the sincere thanks of Hercule Poirot.
Phobias must be a heavy burden to bear.
contractor, do you?
Yes, please?
On me way. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Poirot, but Gladys told me about your phobia. How you don't want gents opening jars for you and such. I sympathize with you. I've an uncle who had a phobia about opening doors. If there was no one around to open a door for him, he'd try crawling through a window instead. Then he got stuck in a window once and wouldn't go near them either. He lives in a tent outside Swansea now. Bitter cold some nights, but he seems happy at last.
What can I do for you, Mr. Poirot?
You have heard of the terrible tragedy?
The murder of that wonderful actress, Mrs. Marshall? Oh, yes.
I have been asked to investigate.
Well, I'm sure you'll clear it up as fast as you found my missing post.
Merci, madame. Did you see any of the hotel guests this morning?
Yes. Major Barry came in around 9:30. He wanted to use the phone. Then he declared it wasn't private enough for his needs and said he'd drive into Kingsbridge instead. What do you suppose was so private he couldn't call from here? It's not as if I'm one to gossip.
Of course not. Did you see anyone else?
Yes. That young stepdaughter of Mrs. Marshall's came in to refill a prescription for her.
What was the prescription?
A sedative. Trianol.
When was Mademoiselle Marshall here?
Why, it was only a little while ago. Right before I heard the news of the murder.
Hold on. Alena was well dead by that time.
Indeed? She had no more need of the sedatives. Thank you, Madame Hughes. That is all my questions. Eh bien, Hastings. We progress most satisfactorily. The course now is to identify and to remove the red herrings that obscure our true path. Where have our investigations taken us? I will remind you of those moments I considered the most important. You, of course, must decide which pertain to the murder of Alena Stuart, which are additional crimes that, while they may have no bearing on the murder, must still be solved, and what we still must learn before all questions are answered and the guilty unmasked. Are you ready, mon ami?
As ready as I'll ever be, I suppose. But could I have my sixth clue to the secret of the finger of suspicion first?
But of course, the sixth clue is telephone.
Telephone. Let's see what we have so far then. Power, lamp, desk, drawer, magnet, and now telephone. Thank you, Poirot. I'm ready to hear what you consider important about what we've learned so far.
First, what are the mysteries we are trying to unravel?
The murder of Alena Marshall.
Of primary importance. We will explore the possible suspects presently, but let us take a moment for motive. What are your thoughts on the reason Alena Marshall was murdered?
Money.
Alena Marshall was a rich woman, thanks to her career as an actress.
The murder of Millie Parsons.
We now know enough of the circumstances in the crime to point towards a killer with motive and opportunity. The anthropology instructor, Gideon Fell. And unless Mr. Fell is on Seadrift Island or in Leathercombe Bay in disguise, he is not a suspect in Alena Marshall's murder.
Yet there were several persons who either intimately or peripherally involved in the case on Seadrift Island.
True, and 2 points remain to be cleared up. Can you name them?
Was Gideon Fell the man you mentioned in your story of voodoo?
The one who awakens in the night in the greatest of fear? Yes, it was he.
Because of voodoo?
Is it so hard to accept? If you accept that he himself believed in the power of voodoo?
Is Linda Marshall involved in voodoo?
The signs seem to point in that direction, I am afraid. Once we hear from Miss Porter and learn what Mademoiselle Marshall hides in her puzzle box, we will have our final answers, I think.
The murder of Alice Corrigan.
We know little of the details of this case. Only that the husband was implicated and cleared due to the unbreakable alibi. And this crime was committed near Brixham as well. It may yet prove to be connected to the Millie Parsons case.
I thought the police proved that Fell couldn't have been the killer.
There may be another connection, Hastings. Do not rule it out.
The activities of fifth columnists.
Yes, it seems clear that Mrs. Castle watches, but not in the name of England.
The birdwatcher, Mr. North.
Yes, the report from Scotland Yard, which I hope you have read. It tells us he is the smuggler. But of what? Is he allied with the Fifth Communists? Or someone else?
The ghost of Tom Cutter.
Yes, the ghost who is not the ghost. Do you have any theories as to who the ghost might be?
Mr. North.
He would certainly seem to be the most likely candidate.
Bullets and Mr. Blatt.
Yes, Monsieur Blatt is shot at, but fails to mention the fact. Shot at by whom?
A German U-boat?
Possibly. If it were the authorities, I am sure Colonel Weston would have been informed. Yet he did not find the incident of sufficient interest to tell anyone. He even makes up the transparent lie of storm damage. Why?
Voodoo on Seadrift Island.
Yes, and we have the indications it is being practiced here, and by young Mrs. Marshall. Yes, all of these mysteries still bedevil us to greater or lesser degree. Now I will list the characters in our little drama. Do you believe that we can eliminate anyone from any of the mysteries we pursue?
All of the above.
Excellent! With one stroke, you clear the stage of the, how you call them, the players of the bits? Now we can focus on the true suspects. Now let us turn our attention to the more likely suspects. Which is your choice as murderer?
Patrick Redfern.
Again, an obsession that Alena Marshall has decided to end? The lover spurned? Yet where is the opportunity? His movements are witnessed by many, including myself, until he set off in the rowboat with Mademoiselle Brewster.
Christine Redfern.
On the face of it, the most likely suspect? The jealousy for her is the most immediate and intense. Yet she too would seem to have the unimpeachable alibi, according to Mademoiselle Marshall.
Stephen Lane.
A man so consumed by his zealotry, he has lost his position as a minister of God? The religious fanatic is indeed a man who could be driven to take it upon himself to personally destroy the evil he sees.
Linda Marshall.
Again, empathy? To protect him from the woman who makes him the cuckold in the eyes of all the world? Already she is attracted by the unhealthy interests. Already she knows the violence that can strike without warning. Yet she would seem to have the unimpeachable alibi thanks to Madame Redfern.
Oakley Gardner.
The likable Mr. Gardner, who takes so long to find the knitting wool and who was ruined by Alena Marshall?
Carrie Gardner.
Another who is hiding something? Would she strike down the woman who ruined her husband's business?
Emily Brewster.
The athletic Mademoiselle Brewster is a woman strong enough to strangle another, as your experiment proved? And we have not determined a sufficient alibi for her, I think. And yet she is another like Monsieur Blatt, par example, who apparently has no motive for the crime at all?
Horace Blatt.
It is true the man has secrets. He would also have had the opportunity to slip quietly ashore at Cutter's Cove and depart in his sailboat during the time of the murder.
Rosamond Darnley.
The murder of empathy, to protect the man she truly loves. She is a strong woman who has succeeded in the business world. It is possible she would be capable of such an act.
Kenneth Marshall.
The jealous husband? Even the cool customer like Captain Marshall may have their fires that burn deep inside.
And there's the money motive too.
Yes, the background check of Scotland Yard should reveal if he has the reverses in business.
Major Barry.
For Major Barry, a man who has lived through the violence of war, an obsession rebuffed by Madame Marshall may indeed have turned to more violence.
Hilary Castle. Alena could have figured out that she was betraying her country.
Self-preservation. I did not see among her many attractive qualities any indication that Mrs. Marshall possessed the instincts of a detective. Still, it is a possibility. Voila, there we have it then. Barring new evidence against any of those we have eliminated, there are 12 suspects. Some would seem to have no motive, others no opportunity. But at this stage, we must keep our minds open to all possibilities. You agree?
Absolutely.
Then when you are ready, we will return to Seadrift Island. It is late in the afternoon. In only hours, the truth will reveal itself and a killer will face the ultimate court.